TikTok. TikTok. Get it? TikTok. TikTok.
Let me hear you all say ELGLES, Eagles! Let's go, Birds!
We're going to get it going, I promise you.
Welcome back into the Door Report, episode 299 on a freezing, frigid, ice freaking cold Tuesday evening, January 21st, 2025. I am Will Byrum, joined as always by my co-host, Trevor Hulan. Wow, I screwed that up. Am I having a stroke right now?
I think you're good.
Trevor Hulan.
You remember whenever you just didn't pronounce my last name correctly? And it's not your fault, it's just because I never corrected you. I never corrected you.
Trevor Hulan, a.k.a. Hack Squat Jim Duggan. Here at the Door Report, we are presented by 615 Collectibles. If you're into sports cards or sports memorabilia, check out 615 Collectibles on eBay. You can find them directly at www.ebay.com/str/615collectibles, or you can just go to ebay.com and type 615 collectibles in the eBay search bar. Items include NFL team packs, graded cards, individual cards, and more. So check them out. The premier and presenting sponsor of the Door Report, the only current ad that we have running on Rivals.
Yeah.
The reason I am saying that, if anyone is interested in sponsoring the Door Report, please reach out to me. You can reach out to the Door Report at doorreport@gmail.com, or you can DM us on Twitter, or me personally on Twitter at the Will Byrum. So we're not asking too heavily. If the right opportunity comes about, we would love to add more sponsors.
Yeah.
But right now, we're just trying to get adjusted to the Rival stuff. But just thought I would put that out there early, especially because we're primarily going to be looking for sponsors once football season rolls around.
Yeah.
So we're just getting the feelers out there early. And so anybody interested in sponsoring right now or sponsoring baseball season, or primarily what we are looking for, sponsoring football season. So
the moneymaker.
That'll just help us produce more content during football season, better tailgates, all that stuff. So once again, we are still poor at TDR, and we will continue to not pay ourselves until we have expanded our repertoire and studio and all of our content much more.
Contrary to popular belief, TDR is still operating in the red. TDR has been operating in the red since its inception.
I don't think that surprises anybody.
No. I think there are some people that's like, hey, like, y'all got money now. And it's like, no, we don't. Everything is still out of our pockets.
This is I don't want to go on this rant, so I'm just gonna get like a one-liner out quick. A lot, and maybe I didn't before I accidentally got into this industry, but like a lot of people consume media content and consume sports media content specifically. I don't think most people have any idea how the sausage is made behind the scenes. I barely do.
Yeah.
But I don't think people understand how like publisher networks work and the actual amounts of money that you were seeing and how many people are covering these teams for nothing.
Yeah.
That's the major part, is how many people that you think are being paid to cover these teams are not.
Yeah.
That's been the most shocking part. I fully never expected to make any money doing this. So I went into it with that mindset. But people doing it for a career, it is a tough career.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it. But on episode 299, me and Trevor are I don't even want to say a day late, because our schedule is either Monday or Tuesday.
Yeah,
now.
people know. Yeah.
But in general, with SEC basketball going on, we're going to be recording a lot of our episodes on Mondays.
Yeah.
However, everybody listening to this, for the most part, is sports fans. Last night was the College Football Playoff Championship.
Yes.
So we all watched it. I won't say a boring game. Notre Dame tried to make it interesting at the end, but Ohio State, they are your national champions, the Buckeyes. Kind of a snooze fest of a national championship, but no more football until August 23rd, I believe. So we had to watch that. We could not record.
The cowardice with Marcus Freeman kicking that field goal, the one that got doinked, dude, you have to go for that. The cowardice. Hey, you know what they say? Whenever you have the opportunity to keep a two-possession game, you take that opportunity.
I can steel man the argument of why he kicked it. I can. However,
I have no idea how.
No, I can steel man it. I just disagree with it. So anything that I'm going to say, it's like, I see the logic of what he was doing. However, it is the most conservative call in everything that I argue against in coaching.
Yeah.
After he ran and agreed to run the most obvious fake punt of all
Lord.
time. So,
Telegraphed it.
I think the moment was, we'll say, Notre Dame was just out talented. I don't want to say it was too big for Freeman. That Notre Dame was just out talented.
On the defensive side, they couldn't stop a
impressive run from Ohio State. Just ran through the CFB, just dominated. So
yeah.
I don't want to say pains because, to be honest, I don't really have that much of an opinion on Ohio State. Besides, I hate Ryan Day's face.
Yeah,
his face,
his beard.
I was actually watching the game with the girl I've been seeing, and she watched the first half with me. And actually, I was going to say the first thing she said. The first thing she said was Notre Dame's head coach. That guy's attractive, and I went. Couldn't disagree with her. Marcus Freeman's a good-looking fella.
Oh, handsome. Maybe the hottest college football coach.
The second thing she said, which I had never shared my opinions on Ryan Day's face with her. She has no idea who Ryan Day is. They showed a close-up of his face. She said, I don't like that guy's face. His face gives me anxiety. And I said, yes, his face makes me uncomfortable. I was like, yes, that is exactly what it does to me. But shout out to Ohio State.
Yeah.
No SEC team in the championship 2 years in a row.
Is Marcus Freeman the hottest head coach in college football? Is Marcus Freeman the hottest coach in all of football?
Got to do some thoughts.
He might be.
He might be. It's a good looking fella.
I know. Well, now that Vrabel's back in the circle, a lot. But dude, I don't know. I don't know if it was just like
Marcus Freeman,
like regional bias. I feel like a lot of women in the Nashville market were like, "Ooh, Mike Vrabel's hot."
Mike Vrabel is a good-looking dude for like a 50-year-old retired NFL linebacker. He's a handsome fella.
Oh yeah,
but Freeman's another level.
He's like a model.
Yeah, he's another level of hot dude. So this is a brutal.
Cliff Kingsbury's up there, but not in the head coaching circle.
Yeah, McVay.
Ooh, you think
McVay.
So?
The beard.
Really?
I don't want to. It's hard.
This is how comfortable TDR is in their sexuality.
It's generally tough because I'm not one of the Seinfeld episodes. I've been watching a lot of Seinfeld recently, and there's an episode where
show.
Elaine is asking Jerry if she thinks a guy is attractive, and Jerry's like, I don't know. And he's like, I don't see it. And like, I don't take that. You can look at a dude and be straight as hell and be like, that's a good
dude. Yes.
Dude.
Yeah.
However, there are like some struggles when I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, I think Sean McVay is good looking, but also, I'm not walking around looking at dudes like,
yeah, not through the female gaze.
Yeah, so it's
not through the female gaze.
It's tough for me to see as I'm heterosexual as hell, dude.
Yeah, dude.
But
through the male gaze.
Enough talk about hot college head coaches and enough talk about these hot male coaches. We have some basketball to talk about. So this episode, we said we were turning the page over to basketball season. Last episode, still talked a little bit of football, still talked a little bit of other stuff. Went on a long debate for about 12 minutes debating historical Vanderbilt defensive line success. Now we are actually fully turning over to basketball for the complete foreseeable future. Unless there's news, we will keep everyone apprised of that. But Vanderbilt, as the title of episode 298, last episode was Don't Press the Panic Button. Like I was trying to say before we went off on the rant about hot head coaches, we were going to record on Monday, and that would have been nice because it would have been coming straight off the weekend sweep of Tennessee, the victory they had prior to that over South Carolina, and it would have been building up into this game at number 4 Alabama. However, we are recording now on Tuesday after basically a demolition of Vanderbilt by number 4 Alabama. Alabama led by double digits, a majority of that game. So we will be primarily still discussing the 2 victories that we saw at Vanderbilt basketball. Now, all of that will have a slight cloud hanging over it because of what we just saw against Alabama. So we will give our thoughts on all 3 of those games. We will also discuss very quickly Vanderbilt women's basketball and Shea Ralph getting back on the right track with a victory over Tennessee to complete a beautiful weekend inside of Memorial. And then we will look forward very quickly to Vanderbilt's 2 upcoming SEC matchups at home against Kentucky and on the road against Oklahoma. So we have a locked and loaded episode 299 ahead. But before we get into segment 1, we are now a part of the Rivals Publisher Network. Visit vanderbilt.rivals.com today and subscribe to a monthly or annual subscription and support TDR. Use code DOORREPORT, all capital letters, no spaces, for a 30-day no-risk free trial. I repeat, that code is DOORREPORT, all capital letters, no spaces. And that premium gold membership will give you access to our premium forums. Behind closed doors, you can directly interact with me and Trevor. So be sure to support TDR and go to vanderbilt.rivals.com. Use code DOORREPORT, all capital letters, no spaces, and sign up for a premium membership today. Also, don't forget to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at The Door Report. Like us on Facebook. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Our podcast is available on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, and Google Podcasts. And while you're at it, give our podcast 5 stars and a review on iTunes. And I have to add this in really quickly. Some people have been mentioning, when is Mark Byington's name going to be added to the intro? It won't be this episode.
Yeah.
So you've already heard it. You've already tweeted at me. It won't be happening this episode. But over the next couple months, as we get settled into the rival stuff, I will be updating the intro. We had a voice actor reach out to the Door Report and record that intro for us for free.
Yeah.
So that is not AI. That's not something that I did. That's not something Trevor did. I wish I could remember his name. I will try to give him a shout out later. But so it's a little hard to adjust because I didn't make that.
Yeah.
So we're going to have to scrap and redo the whole intro. I might try to plug it into AI and see what happens. But I will be getting it fixed. I promise.
We should hit up Chris Freeman. Be like, you want to do this for us?
We might.
He's a good guy. I know him.
But it's now time for segment 1. Welcome back into segment 1 of episode 299 of The Door Report. Trevor, I have written down to begin episode 299. It is effing cold.
It's brick outside.
I'm going to repeat that. Everyone out there in the state of Tennessee and around the South knows that. We have snow in Baton Rouge. We have snow in Louisiana. It is freaking freezing here in Nashville. I think it's like an 80-hour stretch of not hitting above freezing. So everybody stay warm out there. But today, I posted it a little bit late. How we are going to be starting segment 1 from now on is going to be questions and comments from our premium message board subscribers. So we're going to be trying to put out this question earlier than the day we are recording. So maybe we can start putting it out, I don't know, 4 or 5 days before we record and people can comment throughout. I put it up like noon today on the board. So we only have a couple responses, but I'm going to read them anyway. Some are real. Most are not.
That's the TDR difference, baby.
First from Chef Miller, he says, who is better at their given craft? Will it spreadsheets or Trevor at pissing off UT Junior fans?
I mean, it would be you at spreadsheets because spreadsheets actually pays the bills. And I haven't got to the point where my ability to piss them off generates revenue.
He did say given craft. So I will say Trevor is elite. Better than me at spreadsheets, but given craft is what pays the bills. We're going to go with me with spreadsheets.
Yeah, I would go with you with spreadsheets.
But maybe in the future it can shift over because right now Trevor is better at pissing off UT Junior fans than I am at spreadsheets.
Also, it's like spreadsheets. I don't know if anybody's spent a lot of time in Excel. We are both Excel men ourselves. Excel can be difficult sometimes.
Excel runs the world.
Excel can be difficult. You have to have 2 functioning brain cells to be able to upset a Tennessee fan. So it's not like it's like if you're listening to this and you have dexterity within your thumbs, you can upset them.
You can do it too. I called for burners.
Can
Some people have answered.
Dude, the burner call, the baby burner verse
has been answered. So keep that up.
Ask not what TDR can do for you, but what you can do for TDR.
There we go. Another question. Would Trevor take an oath of lifelong celibacy for the Doors to win a football natty? He's thinking.
Just one?
Well, just one.
Yeah, I would.
Trevor would.
Yeah.
Put on the belt.
Now, here's the thing. I would be really screwed if, like, let's say in an alternate universe, I do get married and I'm able to enjoy my wife, and then Vanderbilt just somehow becomes good and wins a national championship, and I can enjoy the best of both worlds.
There we go. Looks like the trajectory is looking up. So, Trevor, you might not have to take lifelong celibacy, but you might have to. So, it's on the fence. I think Trevor would eat shit out of a red Solo cup, though. Without a doubt, I think that's a yes.
Oh, dude.
Without a doubt.
I'm not playing. There's a lot of things I would do for, like, not just a Vandy national championship. If you were like, hey, Vanderbilt just gets the playoffs, there would be a lot of
bad things.
There would be some very bad things that I would do.
Next up, we have better chick magnet, Trevor's mustache or Trevor's ass. I'll hang up and listen.
I'm a little bit caked up. I'm not gonna lie. I go the mustache.
I
go the mustache because this is the first thing you see.
It's not my question to answer, but I'm going mustache as well.
Yeah, I would go mustache.
That's a street sweeper, if you know what I mean.
All right. Okay. The real answer is that's for me to know and you to wonder.
Can we get a live edition of "It Sucks to Be a Tennessee Vol"? The people are clamoring for it. It has to be in the moment.
Oh yeah, true.
It has to be in the moment. George, thank you for the comment. We can't fake that kind of enthusiasm. We had it clipped and tweeted out by somebody. I don't remember. HMD clipped and tweeted it. It has to be I can't fake it. It has to be in the moment. If we had recorded Monday night and I didn't just witness Vanderbilt get stomped by Alabama, I think I would have the energy.
Yeah. Poor timing on our behalf, really.
There was no way to work around it with our day jobs and everything, but I would have the energy for it, George, if I hadn't just watched Vandy lose by 16 or what was the final score, and Bama put up over 100. So I'm a little toned down on that, but it does suck to be a Tennessee Vol.
Some would say it sucks to be a Tennessee Vol. I said it sucks to be a Tennessee Vol. I said it sucks to be a Tennessee Vol. I said it sucks to be a Tennessee Vol. That was electric.
There we go. See, that wasn't planned.
That was dude.
It has to be in. It has to be in the moment. That's the key to it all. So that was all the questions. Hopefully we will put it up way earlier and get some more questions. I just was super late. We've been saying we were going to do that and read off the questions. We have put that up and forgotten to read off the questions every time. And there have been more than this. Yeah. So I think people have lost faith. We're actually going to read the questions.
Like these guys. Ugh.
So now everybody that listens that has transitioned from the Rivals board to listening to our podcast, now you know we will actually read your questions no matter what they are, even if it's about Trevor's mustache versus Trevor's ass.
Yeah.
So that's the benefit.
This is the most transparent pod on the internet.
Exactly. So subscribe and you can ask whatever questions you want to. And in the future, when we do Talking with TDR, those questions will be priority number one as well, premium subscribers. So that is it for the premium message board questions. We are going into basketball, and I think we are going to start off because I don't have a ton of information. If you want a full recap on this game, go to vanderbilt.rivals.com and read Alex Kerbagov's recap.
Who's been doing a sensational job.
Incredible job recapping Vanderbilt women's basketball games, but the Vanderbilt women's basketball team took down the number 15. Is that correct?
16.
Number 16 Lady Vols on a last-second putback bucket from Michaela Blakes. And a really cool storyline. Her brother also hit a buzzer beater the night before.
Yep.
So a very cool storyline.
Yeah, against North Carolina.
That is right.
He plays for Stanford.
So an incredible game. I'm going to be honest, I did not sit down and watch the whole thing. But if you want a full recap, Alex's recap is great on the website. But a great turnaround because we talked about it last episode on the Don't Press the Panic Button. Both these teams had taken a little bit of a slide once they hit SEC play. Shea Ralph even more was a bit under the microscope because she's further along in her tenure as the Vanderbilt head coach. There are more expectations for the women's team this year. They made the tournament last year, and they'd lost 3 straight. That's a hell of an answer to come out and beat a top 20 Tennessee Lady Vols team on your home court. Hell of a job by Shea Ralph and the girls.
Tip of the cap to them. And like has been noted before the season started, lost your number 1 player. So to come out and to respond like that,
and her
that's
shirt,
absolutely huge.
You saw her shirt.
Electric.
The X over the T.
Electric.
So keep it going, ladies. We will not call you the Lady Doors. I don't know if that's offensive. I still have not gotten a consensus.
I always, and this just shows probably how ignorant I am, I always thought it was the Lady Doors, but apparently it's never, ever been the Lady Doors.
No, we had this discussion like a year ago. I don't think it's ever been. I don't know if they want to be called the Lady Doors, but it has a nice ring to it.
Yeah.
Somebody did comment, leave that sexist shit out east. I did like that comment.
Oh, somebody said that?
No, not on our post. Somebody else said it. Not on anything we said.
I was just saying,
but
we respect
no,
women
yeah.
around here.
But it's another, like my mom at one point said something like, you're referring to them as the girls or ladies. And I'm like, I call them the boys all the time
I call
on the
them-
men's team.
Yeah, the
so
fellers.
it's not derogatory at all, but Vanderbilt women's basketball team beat Tennessee. So that moves me to our next point, which is Brian Carlson wrote an incredible article. You can check it out on vanderbilt.rivals.com called A Magical Weekend in Memorial. And it recaps both games. And it was a magical weekend in Memorial.
It was.
So I want to emphasize that. But first, we have a midweek game to get to, a lost victory in all of this Tennessee celebration. Vanderbilt beat South Carolina in an ugly game, 66-63. South Carolina came into the game, I believe, at 10-6, 0-3 in conference. One of the worst teams that Vanderbilt's going to play in conference play. Vanderbilt had to win this one.
They did.
And they did. It was ugly. It wasn't pretty. The offense did not look good. I will say the defense looked okay. The team shot 19% from three. Shot 41% from the field. But they came out and they got the win. They also got out-rebounded 37-25.
Yeah.
So
it was brutal on the boards.
Everything about this win is just like wrap it up and run home with it. And like I always say, an ugly win beats a pretty loss 10 times or 100 times out of 100. So I don't know how much we want to dig into this one. If you watched it, it was ugly.
Yeah. I mean, it was shout out to Devin McLaughlin. Devin McLaughlin's the one that sealed it for the doors. But yeah, that was hideous basketball.
An and one put back from McLaughlin to win the game as Vanderbilt tried to give away the game. That's a continuing thread. Even in the Tennessee game, they won. A.J. Hogarth led the way with 14 points, 4-9 from the field, 1 of 4 from 3, 5 of 6 from the free throw line. Jason Edwards with 13 points, 2 of 3 from 3, 3 of 8 from the field, and McLaughlin with that last second and one had 11 points, 7 rebounds, 5 of 7 from the field, 0 for 1 from 3, 1 of 1 from the free throw line. But yeah, ugly game, but a great one to pull out a victory.
Well, and two, if you were just not a Vanderbilt fan and you were just flipping through your TV and you're like, Vanderbilt versus South Carolina in basketball, that sounds like it would be an ugly game. Vanderbilt versus South Carolina in basketball, tip-off at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. That sounds atrocious.
Yeah, and Vanderbilt won this game for one reason. Forcing turnovers and creating turnovers. And that has been a theme all year. They flashed a stat during the beatdown Vanderbilt just took against Alabama that Vanderbilt is number 1 in points off turnovers in the entire country this
21.1 a game.
22.7.
22.7.
22.7 per game. So you're close. But Vanderbilt is number 1 in the entire country. So Vanderbilt's offense and Vanderbilt's team relies on creating points off those turnovers. When they can't force those, they don't win. And when they do force them, even when they shoot like shit and play like shit, they still win. So Vanderbilt beat a bad South Carolina team while they played bad. That shows that Vanderbilt has taken a significant step forward. This is the exact game that Vanderbilt in years past has lost. So a big win in ugly fashion, and that is a sign of a team that is improving. Now on to the game that I think most fans really want to talk about and really want to discuss. Trevor, you attended in person.
Oh, yeah.
I had to get the recap up, so I did not attend, but I got the recap up right after. Vanderbilt, despite their best efforts to give away the game in the last 5 minutes, beat the number 6 Tennessee Volunteers 76-75. Everyone watching this, I'm assuming, has watched the game.
Yeah. Probably a couple times.
I really hope so. So I'm going to just jump into the box score, and any time that there's key plays or anything you want to hit on, we can discuss that. So for the most part, the number one thing Vanderbilt struggled with was oops. I mean, that's in the interior. And Vanderbilt thankfully got Okpara in foul trouble early or throughout that game. But Okpara tore him up. 7 of 7 from the field, almost exclusively on dunks, 16 points. But on the Vanderbilt side of things, Jason Edwards led the team in scoring. He did not win most valuable point guard of the game.
He did not.
That's going to be to the next guy I'm going to discuss. But Jason Edwards led the team in scoring 18 points, 3 of 6 from 3, 6 of 10 from the field. Then we're going to go to the second leading scorer, TDR's most valuable point guard of the game. Double-double, Jalen Carey with by far his best game of the season. Once Okpara came out of the game for Tennessee, every other big man they threw at him, he big dogs.
He bodied them.
bullied.
Yep, he bodied them.
14 points for Jalen Carey, 10 rebounds, 5 of 6 from the field, 4 of 6 from the free throw line. He was key. He was the key to that victory.
I totally agree.
He controlled the paint, and in a season that is the storyline is going to be written by how often is Vanderbilt going to struggle with the size of opponents. Jalen Carey stepped up and made that not a problem against Tennessee.
And drew a lot of fouls. I believe went to the free throw line 3 times. I could be mistaken, but I believe he went to the free throw line 3 times.
I'm not sure on that.
But was able to draw fouls himself, which was critical for Vanderbilt.
Yeah, but Vanderbilt out-rebounded Tennessee, which I just didn't see coming.
I didn't see it coming either.
I predicted this was going to be a 13-point loss for Vanderbilt. I did not see them out-rebounding Tennessee. Vanderbilt had 29 team rebounds. Tennessee with 25. Some more guys in the box score. Tyler Nickel with 13 points, 4 of 7 from 3, 4 of 8 from the field. Getting to A.J. Hogard, 4 of 12 from the field, 1 of 4 from the three-point line, 3 turnovers, 11 points. Not much else significant in the box score. McLaughlin with 8, Chris Magnon with 6, Tyler Tanner with 2, MJ Collins with 4, and Grant Huffman still slowly getting back into things. Only played 12 minutes, no points. He did not play in their victory over South Carolina.
Yeah.
Getting into this game, Vanderbilt went into half up 41-35. The game started off with a Jason Edwards 3. Then Tennessee seemed to settle down a little bit after an initial onslaught from Vanderbilt, took the lead, and you went, here we go.
Yep.
Then Vanderbilt fought back throughout the first half and actually went into half on a huge Tyler Nickel 4-point play where he knocked down the free throw after, and Vanderbilt has a 6-point lead at halftime, 41-35. I'm feeling actually very good at halftime. I know that always as a Vanderbilt fan playing a top 10 opponent, but you're inside a Memorial.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit different. But 41-35, you're sitting there thinking the run is coming.
Yeah.
The run is coming from Tennessee. At some point, they're going to make a run, take a 5 or 10 point lead, and Vanderbilt's going to be playing from behind. You were in Memorial Gym. Number one, how was the environment?
It was one of the best environments that I've been a part of in Memorial in a long time. There were obviously a lot of Tennessee fans, but I was very pleased with the amount of Vanderbilt fans that showed. I would say it was probably 60-40 Vanderbilt fans, maybe 55-45 Vanderbilt fans. But I think Vanderbilt had the edge. Fans were loud. Fans were engaged. Fans gave the players energy, and the players fed off that on the floor. Overall, the environment in Memorial was electric.
The students looked like they showed out.
The students, do shout out to the students, man. I have not, like, in football and basketball, in my life, I'm 27 years old. I've been a Vanderbilt fan my entire life. I have never seen support from the students like this in both sports. Never. Like, every single game, they have showed up and showed out, and they have been a huge contributing factor to this Vanderbilt basketball team.
Well, it's amazing what happens when you start winning.
Yeah.
Is everything was galvanized by that victory over Virginia Tech to start the year in football. The students, they showed up, but they weren't great.
Yeah.
And then that created a FOMO factor, fear of missing out. And then the students showed up, and they actually showed out, and they beat Bama and were part of maybe the best scene in all of college football for the entire 2024 season. And that creates real FOMO.
Yeah.
Those students are not going to be missing a game to start next season. And then basketball comes out, and they've got that little inkling of what happened during football season. And then basketball comes out, starts 12-1.
Yeah.
And the students are like, all right, SEC play is starting, we're showing up. Vanderbilt doesn't have a great start. They win game 1, but then lose 2 straight. Then the students show up and show out, and Vanderbilt upsets a top 10 team, and they get to rush the court.
Yeah.
That is exactly what this student body needs. So continue the support. Shout out to the students.
Yeah.
But we're at halftime, and we're going to go to the TDR cocktail break in the middle of this recap. So before we get our thoughts out, our takeaways, full thoughts, we're going to do the full recap here, and then we'll go to the TDR cocktail break. But you're sitting there in Memorial. How are you feeling at halftime? You feeling good, bad? What is it?
I felt electric. I felt very, very pleased with the effort that Vanderbilt had put forward. But like you said, as a Vanderbilt fan, and this is exactly how I felt in Memorial, is there's that little thing in the back of your head that it's like it's not that big of a lead. Tennessee's good. They could come back really quickly. So I enjoyed it. But I'm going to be honest. At halftime, I was still like, I don't know if they're going to pull it off. You know what I mean?
I think that was the thought with everyone. And the reason that I phrased the question like that is to open up the second half. Mannion missed layup opportunity. Foul on Vanderbilt. 2 free throws for Milicic. Cuts the lead to 4. Then a made 3 for Milicic. Cuts the lead to 1. And then Vanderbilt answers a huge Tyler Nickel 3. And then followed by a huge Jason Edwards 3.
An onslaught.
That immediately expands the lead to 47-50. And then another Jason Edwards 3 to hit it to 50-40. Vanderbilt made 5 of their first 6 3-point attempts in that final one in the second half. And that final 3 was before a Rick Barnes timeout, I believe. On an A.J. Hoggard miss, an offensive rebound passed back out to A.J. Hoggard in the corner, who then buried the 3.
Before we go to our break, I want to talk about that specific play. That specific play, I don't remember the last time there in for like a singular moment I'd ever heard Memorial that loud. Was that play to where he missed it, get the board, dishes out again, he makes it. That place literally erupted. I'd never heard Memorial like that before in my life.
And that 3 pushed the Vanderbilt lead to 60-48. Vanderbilt basically had a double-digit lead until the 3-minute mark. The rest of that half. So unfortunately, what happened? So Vanderbilt maintained the lead. Offense continued to look really good, play very free, loose, take open shots. Vanderbilt had a 10-point lead or 12-point lead with about 5 minutes left. Vanderbilt's offense went into a complete shell, completely trying to run down the clock way too early. And the offense went from free-flowing, taking shots, hitting, cutting guys to dribbling the ball out, ISO ball up top, throwing up last-second shot before the shot clock ended. And so I think I wrote in my recap, I think it was 2 minutes and 51 seconds. Vanderbilt was up. Let me make sure I'm right. Vanderbilt was up 76-66 with 2 minutes, 51 seconds left. At a minute 29, Vanderbilt was up 76-72. In a minute and a half, Tennessee cut that lead, and it was a ball game.
Yeah.
And that continued to happen.
Vanderbilt didn't score the rest of the game.
Yeah, Vanderbilt continued to not score literally the remainder of the game. And it basically all came down to Tyler Tanner got sent to the free throw line with a 1-and-1 opportunity. Vanderbilt up 2 points. 76-74, correct? Tyler Tanner gets fouled, goes up, bricks the first free throw.
Yeah.
Tennessee grabs the rebound, and this is a freshman move. He did it a couple times against Bama. I pointed out specifically to you. It's been misconstrued that I'm negative on Tanner. I just think he's a freshman, and his freshman mistakes get looked over because he has so much potential. And it's like if Hoggard or Edwards did that, you would be insane. You would be incensed about it. But because it's Tanner, he then body bumps 80 feet from the basket, body bumps Chaz Lanier. Like clear foul, 80 feet from the basket is Tennessee's going to have to rush down and throw up a last-second heave. Lanier goes to the free throw line, 76-74. Chaz Lanier for Tennessee buries the first free throw, 76-75. And I also just glazed over.
I was going to say you glazed over the Mannion block.
Yeah, there was a driving layup attempt by Lanier as well. And Chris Mannion came through with the block and defensive play of the year prior to that, which is what Huffman saved the ball, passed it out to Tanner, and that's when Tanner got fouled. But shout out to Chris Mannion. That was a hell of a play.
His defense that game, Chris Mannion played with his hair on fire defensively. She thought she was going to be good, and I shall riled up.
But yeah, sorry, Chris, missed that incredible play, game-saving play.
Memorial also erupted during that.
But after that, Tanner missed him, gets the foul. Lanier misses the second free throw, chokes, pisses down his leg, ball bounces around. Edwards saves it, throws it back in. Vanderbilt wins 76-75. And basically, I don't want to overemphasize this, but it changes the trajectory of the season at this point. If Vanderbilt loses this game, I'm not ready to press the panic button. We're not freaking out. But Vanderbilt wins this game. It's a high Q1 win, a resume building win, clearly. And you now can see a path to an NCAA tournament resume.
Yeah.
And that's what I want to discuss after the TDR cocktail break is our takeaways, and we're going to discuss the Bama game a little bit. So we're going to discuss our Tennessee game takeaways. But it's also going to be the South Carolina and Tennessee win takeaways, and then we're going to discuss the Alabama game. So everybody out there, grab yourself a delicious cold or with this weather, warm beverage, and we will be right back after the TDR cocktail break. Welcome back from the TDR cocktail break, and welcome back into episode 299 of the Door Report. For all of you out there wanting a full recap of the Vanderbilt Alabama game during the TDR cocktail break, I actually went upstairs and posted one of our great contributors, one of our great writers, Alex Kerbagov's Vanderbilt Alabama recap article. As I'm burping also from running up and down the stairs somehow. Alex did a great job. So if you want a detailed breakdown, great box score breakdown, go check out vanderbilt.rivals.com. We have the Tennessee takeaways to get to before we get to the Bama game. We gave the recap, ran through the box score really quick. I don't want to be too grandiose in these takeaways because Jerry Stackhouse did beat Alabama. Did beat Tennessee.
He did beat Alabama in the SEC tournament,
and he did beat Tennessee. So individually, games do not mean as much in basketball. I will repeat that. Same as people were freaking out or whatever and having takes about the Bama game. Basketball's different than football. Every single game is not a fully evaluatable. It is a data point, but you can't evaluate a team off one game. So before I go into this, I have to say that. Now, what it does for the rest of the season and the outlook, we had said that they really needed to beat Missouri and South Carolina if they wanted a legitimate shot at the NCAA tournament with what they had coming up in the schedule. Well, now Missouri's a top 25 team.
Yeah, Missouri's kind of humming.
Missouri's number 22 in the country with the latest polls, but they did not do that. They lost to Missouri. They beat South Carolina. Now, very similar, and this is why I said it's different than football, because I'm trying to draw some comparisons. But it's not the same. But Vanderbilt football, you also said they have to beat Georgia State, and they didn't. And they kind of won back that game by beating an opponent that they're not favored in, that they're an underdog against in big fashion against number one Alabama. Well, Vanderbilt basically did something really similar in basketball. They lost to a team, I won't say should have because Missouri is good, but they could have won a very winnable game. And then they upset the top 10 team. Then they beat Tennessee. So it sets them back on track to your initial plans where they don't have to do anything crazy now. They've already done the crazy. They've done the crazy. So now it's just back to the grindstone. You have a brutal schedule coming up, which started tonight with number 4 Alabama on the road. So, Trevor, I don't want to be grandiose, but like I already said, but this game was huge and what it means for the whole season.
Yeah, and not only what it means for this basketball program, but also what it means for this fan base. And I hate to keep turning it back to the fan base, but a Vanderbilt fan base that this time last year, like I keep wanting to go back, this time last year, guys, we were in a really, really, really bad spot. Now, 1 year later, you come off a win against your in-state, even if Tennessee wasn't top 25, people would be like, great win, awesome. Even if they were winless, we'd be like, hell yeah. But the number 6 team in the nation in Tennessee, and you go to Memorial, you stay in your home gym, and you do the improbable, and you get a win that nobody thought you should have, and it builds your resume. And so, like you said, a loss this late in the season doesn't necessarily kill you right now, but they can sure as hell help. Then this game or that game really helped Vanderbilt in terms of what they want to build with their resume. I also do want to make a note. My dad told me this. Top 10 ranked Tennessee teams are 2-6 to unranked Vanderbilt teams in Memorial.
It's a good stat poll.
So Memorial is where top 10 teams come to die.
And I keep saying that this is a first-year head coach in Mark Byington. I'm going to keep repeating and reiterating that. But you're trying to build on this season to begin with. Now, are you going to be able to retain Mark Byington for 10, 20 years? I don't know. But you're trying to build this program back. And so this season is about just taking tangible steps forward. And this is another tangible step forward. Vanderbilt, prior to the Alabama game, after the Tennessee victory, 15-3. 3-2 in a brutally tough SEC. That looks good. On top of that, more niche with the fan base. This is a lot of questions that we see on the board, a lot of articles written about it across a lot of sites. How does Vanderbilt get more fans back in Memorial? How do they bring back that Memorial magic that everybody talks about? Winning games like this is a great first step.
Yeah.
Getting people's butts in the building and not willing to sell their seat because they don't want to miss this. That's what has changed. Is Vanderbilt has not been good at basketball for 8 years.
Yeah.
Fans don't feel like they're going to miss out on a victory or miss out on a game that they people are going to be talking about that for 10 years, 15 years. Can't believe I sold my tickets.
Yeah.
This is what they needed. So this is a great tangible step forward. And another thing in year one, Mark Byington moving this program in the right direction. So far, a home run hire from Candace Story-Lee, who was doing a little bit of her own work on the side, got Jelly Roll in the building. I won't say known, but a Tennessee fan got Jelly Roll in the building in all black, cheering for the Doors.
Throwing up the VU.
Cheering for his local Vanderbilt Commodores. It feels like we have had our criticisms, and we've also given her flowers at times. It feels like finally Vanderbilt has an AD that is tapping into what we've always said. Vanderbilt needs to be Nashville's team. And people could clip this and it sounds bad. Vanderbilt is never going to be Tennessee's team. It's never going to fully be Vanderbilt State. Vanderbilt can own Nashville. And I think that's the best part of the state to own. That's what you want to own. You want to own
That's the
Nashville.
premier real estate.
That is it. So you have all these stars. And Vanderbilt, you saw it when they brought Theo Vaughn to the Alabama game. Vanderbilt pulled off the upset. You see it with Jelly Roll. They pull him in. They pull off the top 10 upset.
Local guy when they brought Tay Keith.
Yep, and you already have Nate Bargatze, who is a super fan, probably the biggest comedian in the world right now is Nate Bargatze is a Vanderbilt fan. So Vanderbilt is finally tapping into the star power they have here. George Kittle hosts Tight End U at Vanderbilt's football facility. There's all sorts of things like that. So finally an AD with some vision. So we have been critical. Not everything has been perfect. The Jerry Stackhouse extension, not great. Some other things you could talk about. So I'm giving that first. But what Candace Story-Lee has done so far is nothing short of phenomenal.
Yeah, I agree.
Redone all the facilities for the major programs. Built the golf facility
and the non-revenue
non-major.
one. Yeah.
Redone Vanderbilt's football stadium. Got a premier sponsor for it in First Bank. Redid Memorial Gym and modernized it while keeping the old school charm of Memorial.
Yeah.
I understand being upset about the occasional concession thing or whatever, but looking at the macro perspective, what she has done in her short period as AD is more than any Vanderbilt AD has done in the last 60 years.
It's more than any Vanderbilt AD has ever done in the history of Vanderbilt.
It's truly
I'll go that far.
unbelievable.
It's more than any Vanderbilt AD has ever done in the history of Vanderbilt.
So Candace Story-Lee, keep it rolling. If she starts screwing up, I promise you we will be critical. But right now she is pressing all the right buttons.
And we also have to remember, guys, it wasn't that long ago. It was like 14, 15, 16 years ago. Vanderbilt did not have an athletic department. Like, we need to remember that. We need to remember that a very short time ago, Gordon Gee abolished the athletic department. There was no athletic department. There was no athletic director. There was none of that. Vanderbilt did not have that. And so in a 15, 16-year span I know it's been some rough patches. I get it. But to turn it around like this, like, we legitimately never thought we would see the day that First Bank Stadium, formerly Vanderbilt Stadium, would be renovated. We never thought we'd see that day, and she's done that. So kudos to her. Also, shout out to Jelly Roll, South Nashville's finest.
And also need to give a shout out because he's lost in this some. Chancellor Daniel Diermeyer.
Bingo.
He's the man that, even though Candace Story-Lee is the one that has executed all of this and put the pressure on the administration to do it, Daniel Diermeyer is ultimately the guy that has to sign.
He's been complicit.
He is the one that has to, and I'm going to say this part out loud that everybody knows, he's the one that has to allow them to lower academic standards to allow athletes in.
Yeah. Because
let's just be honest. Diego Pavia ain't a 4.0 Nobel scholarship, Nobel Award winner, future Nobel laureate. He's just not. They finessed some things. They added in an undergraduate studies program for graduate students. There are a lot of little finesse moves that Vanderbilt has made that have allowed this to happen and hopefully allow sustainable growth into the future, which is why we are so positive.
Yeah.
Finally, there's a little bit of recognition from Vanderbilt's academic side, the administration, that there is a benefit to being a legit competitive SEC program. And it's just fallen into your lap that you're a founding member of this incredibly valuable conference. And Vanderbilt's finally capitalizing on it. They're like, oh shit, we're one of the most unique 16 programs in the country. Nobody else can mess with us with the conference we are in and the potential revenue and exposure. And finally, Vanderbilt's just leaning into it.
Yeah.
They don't have to do anything crazy. Just lean into it a little bit. And so everything right now, full trajectory wise, in football and basketball, everything is moving in the right direction.
Yeah.
Now that we've said that, we have to discuss the Alabama game that me and Trevor just watched together on the couch. Pretty brutal.
Yeah.
I titled Alex's article, Vanderbilt Outclassed by Alabama, loses 103 to 87. So that was the final score. Vanderbilt lost 103 to 87. Vanderbilt got up early. I think it was 7-2.
7-2.
Really missed some opportunities. Could have built up an early lead a lot bigger. It could have been a 15-2, 17-4 start. That didn't happen. Vanderbilt needed to do that. They didn't. Alabama took control about 8 minutes into the game or so and never looked back.
Yeah, went on that initial 15-2 run.
Yep, and Alabama got up double digits. Vanderbilt was able to cut it to 8 with like 3 minutes remaining in the game.
Yeah, finally cut it under 10.
A.J. Hogard, but they were just trying to cut it under 10 the entire remainder of the game.
Yeah, that was the first time they'd cut it under 10 since the 4-minute mark of the first quarter.
And
or
so
first half,
I'll run through the box score real quick, and then we'll talk about what we saw. Jason Edwards led the team in scoring with 21 points, 8 of 20 from the field, 2 of 4 from 3. Second on the team in scoring was Tyler Nickel with 19, 5 of 9 from 3. I think he was 5 of 7 in the second half.
Yeah, I believe
he
so.
was hot in the second
It's
half.
probably his best game of the season.
Yeah, 6 of 12 from the field. Third leading scorer was A.J. Hogard with 11, 4 of 11 from the field, 1 of 3 from 3. And then MJ Collins Jr. and Devin McLaughlin both had 10 points. McLaughlin also had 14 rebounds, so another double-double for Devin McLaughlin. Jalen Carey took a little bit of a step back. He struggled with Alabama's size on the inside, and that is going to be a continuing theme. I think Jalen Carey, 6 points, 2 of 7 from the field, 4 rebounds. To the Alabama side of things, Alabama's bench destroyed Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
That was ultimately the difference. I think Vanderbilt's entire bench had 23 points. Alabama, 2 players off their bench had 44. Muhammad, how do you pronounce this?
Diabate.
I knew I was going to screw it up. Diabate had 22, 8 of 9 from the field, 6 of 9 from the free throw line. Aiden Holloway also had 22, 8 of 11 from the field, 4 of 6 from 3. Alabama was hot, and their bench scoring was a huge difference. We know Vanderbilt lacks depth. This is the first time you've seen that really play out in dramatic fashion.
Yeah.
As Alabama's bench scoring was just so superior to what Vanderbilt had on their bench. Mark Sears, arguably Alabama's best player, had 21 points, 5 of 12 from the field, 10 of 13 from the free throw line. Alabama as a team shot 34 free throws, 23 of 34, only 67% as a team. Alabama shot 8 of 22 from 3, 36%, and they shot 36 of 64 from the field, 56%. Vanderbilt, on the other hand, shot 31 of 80 from the field, 38%. However, Vanderbilt once again outshot themselves from the field from 3. Vanderbilt shot 11 of 26 from 3, 42%. Vanderbilt was 14 of 18 from the free throw line, 77.8% from there. Vanderbilt was out-rebounded by Alabama, 44-39. The big part of this game, Vanderbilt had less turnovers as a team. Alabama had 11 turnovers. Vanderbilt had 10, but just not a lot of turnovers.
Yeah.
And Vanderbilt has to win that turnover battle.
Yeah, not a big discrepancy.
Not a big discrepancy there. And just the fouls. Vanderbilt was in foul trouble the whole game. Well, we can complain about referees, but Vanderbilt got beat regardless of referees. But the referees were bad.
Yeah. I mean, Vanderbilt had what was it? It was something crazy, 17 fouls at this under 16-minute timeout. It was wild.
So, I went up to take a shower at
you
halftime.
came down.
I got back down, and there were the second half had started. There were 17 minutes to go, and Vanderbilt already had 16 fouls.
Yeah.
17 or 16 minutes to go. So the refs were bad. That on top of the continuation calls, the and ones they were giving. I don't know when the NCAA changed the college basketball rule book to reflect NBA continuation rules, but there were 3 separate times they gave an and one to Alabama that was a full 2 steps after the foul occurred.
Yeah, should have been on the floor.
It should have absolutely been on the floor. So very odd. That is not why Vanderbilt lost. But the referees,
but just a weird quirk.
Just to show that I will criticize the referees whether or not Vanderbilt wins, Vanderbilt loses, whether they impact the game at all. The refs were bad.
Yeah.
So I just have to put that out there. It's not why Vandy lost, but they were bad. So the Bama game, I personally am of the belief this is as Jerry Stackhouse liked to say in his day, this is a crumple it up and throw it away type of game. I don't think there's anything to take away from beginning to end. Alabama's athletes and size were superior.
Yeah.
Vanderbilt, like I said, they struggled early. It looked like they could have gotten that score to 15-2 early. What happened was they couldn't finish on the inside because Alabama's size bothered the hell out of this
Their
team.
recovery speed was impressive down low as well. Like, it was just their agility and their speed along with their size, I was very impressed with.
Yeah, I've obviously watched a lot of SEC basketball, but mainly watched Vanderbilt. This is undoubtedly, I know they were the highest ranked team, so it might be obvious. This was another level of team than Vanderbilt has faced this season. I think Mississippi State and Tennessee are pretty equivalent, you could almost say.
Tennessee did wipe the floor with them tonight.
I think Tennessee might be a little better, but they're maybe in that same bracket. I think Alabama is up there in that Auburn category of they're another level of team in the SEC.
Put them up there with, you put Kentucky up there as well right now. They're playing really good.
They're
good.
playing really
I've
got to
good
watch
basketball.
some more Kentucky, and we will see some more Kentucky.
Unfortunately, I think that's a matchup nightmare.
That is
for
a
Vanderbilt.
nightmare of a matchup. The SEC is full of nightmare matchups and full of tough schedules. So anything else you want to add on the Bama game? Because
I mean, I agree with you, man. And once again, as we all know, I am known as a sunshine pumper, but it does assure me that Will is also on the same page, that I'm not being a sunshine pumper, and that don't let this freak you out. It was a rough game, but at the end of the day, 103-87 is not a huge margin for as good as this Alabama team is, number 4 team on the road in Tuscaloosa. Now, they did have their way with Vanderbilt, but this Vanderbilt team did show some fight. They kept fighting all game long, cut it to under 10 with under 4 to go. So, you know, I'm very optimistic still about this Vanderbilt basketball team. Just shots got to fall, man. Shots got to fall.
And I'm just going to keep continuing to stick with the take that I had. But it's what I had before good things happened. It's what I'm going to have after they happen. It's what I have before bad things and after them. Everything the rest of this season for me, and this is a me take, this doesn't have to be everybody, everything the rest of the season is gravy. Obviously, if they lose out in SEC play,
yeah, it's a different story.
I'm going to be disappointed. But everything that I have seen is exactly what I wanted to see out of Mark Byington year one.
More.
And I've already seen it. So I don't think this team is going to rattle off, what would it be, 12 straight SEC losses. But if they did, that's the only thing that could change. But if this team, you know, goes 2-10 to close out SEC play, I'm not going to be ringing alarm bells. I'm going to be disappointed, but I'm not going to be ringing alarm bells. I have seen what I needed to see. So I just want to keep emphasizing that. If they go out and pull the upset against Kentucky, I'm going to say it's all gravy, baby. If they go out and get blown out by 30, it's all gravy, baby. And that might be a loser mentality, but it's year one. That will not be my mentality year two. No, I promise you. But year one, I am very forgiving in year one.
Yeah. And like we've hit on as well, man, just the SEC is a gauntlet this year. The best basketball conference, top to bottom, I have ever seen in my life watching college basketball. And this streak of playing a number 6 Kentucky, going to number 4 Alabama, playing a top 10 Kentucky the following Saturday, then going and playing a good Oklahoma team, like, man, that is a brutal stretch of basketball for this Vanderbilt Commodores team.
Yeah, and the Ken Palm really doesn't value the SEC quite as highly as the polls do, but it's still pretty high. Alabama was number 8. Obviously, Vanderbilt just played them. Then Vanderbilt at home has number 20 Kentucky. Then they play on the road at number 44 Oklahoma. Then have on the road number 5 Florida. Then Texas. Then number 2 Auburn. Then number 6 Tennessee. That's brutal.
That's awful.
So you're looking at that, and we're not going to dig into details. Miller McKee, I believe, or one of us will be previewing these games. You can check out vanderbilt.rivals.com. Those plugs will keep coming more and more often. But for full previews on that game, on those games. But looking at it, it's hard to predict and really say this is a win, this is a loss. But to me, the Kentucky matchup is brutal. It's very similar to Alabama, just freak athletes, size, length. It's a brutal matchup.
Good shooters.
Vanderbilt really needs to win that Oklahoma game when you look at the schedule. They need to specifically win Oklahoma or Texas.
Texas is a very winnable ball game.
So you're looking at this saying Vanderbilt has 3 wins. 4 more SEC wins probably doesn't get you in, but gets you on the bubble, and depending on what you do in the tournament. 5 more wins probably puts you firmly on the bubble / gets you in. 6 more wins almost guarantees you a spot. So you're trying to just find 5 to 6 more wins, 4 if you're being lenient. Texas, Oklahoma, Missouri, Arkansas, Georgia.
All very winnable.
Those are the most winnable games on the schedule. Those are the ones that are not top 20 Ken Palm teams. That's all you have left. You have 5 teams that are not in the top 20 according to Ken Palm remaining on your schedule. And Missouri's number 28.
Mm-hmm.
So there's not a lot of games you're going to go into and say, oh, this is a great opportunity for a win.
Yeah.
Even though it's on the road, the Oklahoma game is a great opportunity for a win.
I do agree.
They're not a bad team. I mean, there's no bad. That's the part that's
There's
tough.
no bad
There's no bad teams. I mean, Oklahoma's sitting at 14-4. They're coming off a 20-point win over South Carolina. There's no bad teams. But Kentucky's an interesting one at home. See how much of a difference it makes playing a team not similar, not the same, but kind of like Alabama, that supreme level talent at home. See how much of a difference that makes. And then we get to see this team with a road challenge against an opponent that they truly have a chance to win against. Like a good opportunity should win that game.
Yeah.
I won't say should, but can definitively win it. They have an opportunity in every game.
Yeah, well,
I'm mincing words at this point.
Well, speaking about the Kentucky game, I think another interesting fact, and announcers love to bring this up, and I also love to bring it up as well. Mark Pope's first time in Memorial Gymnasium. Will the layout, maybe this is me just spitballing here, will the layout of Memorial Gym maybe fluster him a little bit? It's his first time there. He's never coached there. It's a weird setup, and that's why we love it. So does that obviously does give Vanderbilt an inherent home court advantage, but how much? I don't know. I think that's an interesting thing to look at.
We will see. I'm going to give quick predictions here. I think they will lose to Kentucky. I think Vanderbilt.
I agree.
I think Vanderbilt will beat Oklahoma. So those are my predictions. I think Vanderbilt will go 1-1. If you want my detailed score predictions, subscribe to Rivals. Go to vanderbilt.rivals.com and subscribe, and I will post my predictions on the board.
As well as his bets.
Trevor, what do you got?
I think that Kentucky game's a loss. I think Oklahoma is a win as well.
Okay.
I'm right there with you.
So me and Trevor are agreeing on our picks. We'll see if that is a good thing or a bad thing. It is getting late. I want to edit this episode.
Yeah, I'm getting sleepy.
So everybody out there listening to this on a Wednesday, have a great rest of your day. Whatever day you're. Oh, Trevor has one more thing.
Also, today, not Wednesday, but the Tuesday we're recording, the shout out to Alan Richardson. It is his birthday.
Happy birthday, Alan. Happy birthday. All right. For myself, Will Byrum, and my co-host, Trevor Hulan, this has been episode 299 of The Door Report, powered by 615 Collectibles.